Hey guys, this is another Test Miles review. We're going to be driving the brand new Buick Lacrosse. This vehicle is the latest in 7 new Buicks that will be released. We're going to put it on the road, test drive it, and find out from the people that made it what makes it so cool. Alright, well, Sean and I are test driving the brand new Buick Lacrosse. You may have seen this unveiled at the LA Auto Show last year. Buick have had quite a triumphant year. The best July for most of their brands up till now. They are launching a whole bunch of new vehicles, but it was kicked off by the Cascada, which is their small convertible, which is now just leaping head and shoulders above the competition. The Audi A3 and the A5 convertibles, it is busting out lots of numbers, more than those put together. JD Power and Associates basically said that they are one of the finest cars that they have seen. They've seen their rankings go up on one of their surveys, and we're looking at the whole range now. With the introduction of the mid-size SUV, they're going to have a full range of SUV, right from the Encore to the Enclave, and now the new one coming in the middle. So there is a lot happening at Buick. Their sales are absolutely through the roof. Let's talk about this car in particular. They did a really nice job on several things. First of all, the interior. Buick's interiors and GM as a whole were very GM. You could see the interior of the car was a GM just by looking at it. I don't think you would be able to see that this was a Buick just by looking at the interior. It has a TFT screen in the middle of the two speedometers. It has a lot of very interesting pieces of technology inside of it. We've heard a little bit about that. Also, the buttons now are very intuitive, and a new kind of shifter. It is a sort of an electronic shifter, but instead of the rotary shifter, which doesn't really let you know where you need to be, this is probably one of the best things I like about the car. It also has heads-up display, and of course that OnStar 4G LTE. One of the biggest things that they spent a lot of time on in this vehicle is quiet tuning it, and there is a microphone right up here on the side by my head and one in the back seat, and they measured it against what they thought was the best car in the industry, which was the Lexus ES350. This actually beat it hands down as far as quietness is concerned. They filter that noise out, as well as road noise, wind noise as well. They worked very hard on. So you shut the outside out and you keep the inside in, and I feel isolated in this cabin, but driving the car, I feel very much like I have control and command of the road, and I can feel the road through the steering wheel. So it's not like I'm cocooned in the car. I have a connection through the steering wheel to the outside road, but at the same time, I'm not, I would say, interrupted by traffic noises or those pesky wild birds that you get out here in the Oregon countryside. Sean, what do you think about the inside?
I actually love how they have this sweeping kind of look to it. It looks very futuristic, but it's simple. There's not a lot of buttons. It's not hard. It's easy to navigate through.
They've also used two-tone materials on the inside. We have a brown leather with the black plastic on the dash. And the other thing that the Buick have done is they've redesigned the seats to make them highly comfortable, and as well there's a massage feature which I actually can't get Sean to turn off. Now, Buick is the fastest growing international brand. 50% of buyers who are coming into Buick haven't been in the brand before, and part of this quiet noise that we've talked about in the back is their new 5-link suspension in the rear. Now, they promised 7 vehicles by 2018, and so far they've delivered 3, which means that over the next 2 years we have 4 more Buicks to come. Stuart, you've had an amazing time at Buick. This is definitely the underdog in America and the Quiet brand, let's say, in more than one term. There's a double entendre there.
I see what you did there.
Because you have the quietest interior, but yet you're really a not in your face brand. But it's completely opposite the other end of the world in China, where you are just the biggest powerhouse in the country, right?
Sure, yeah.
So let's talk about America. What's happening for you in the US?
Yeah, and one thing I will point out is just we look at ourselves as one big global brand. We measure our success globally, but there are some differences between each of the markets where we operate. In China, Buick stretches a little more toward the mainstream. There are more cars with cloth interiors, smaller engine options. We sell a few 100,000 Excellas, which is a small sedan that we don't offer here in the US. So about half of the sales that you're seeing in China are models that we don't even sell here in the US. When you look at some of the ones that are global vehicles for us, the Encore, for example, so far in 2016, we've sold more Encores in North America than we have in China, and it goes back and forth depending model to model. So the brand placement in the market is a little bit different in each of those markets. So the size is a little misleading between the two. We absolutely certainly don't want to diminish the success we've had in China, because it's a huge market for us. But when we look at the US market, Buick is in a spot in the market where we're not mainstream, we're not all the way into luxury. It's a premium space between the two.
The best fuel economy you'll get out of the brand new Buick Lacrosse is 31 miles a gallon. They start at just under $33,000, and they're arriving in dealerships next week. I'm Nick Miles.